Welcome back to another episode of Didi Got a Podcast. I'm your host, Didi. On time today, believe it or not, I saw somebody in the comment section saying this is scheduled for 5 p.m. Eastern time. I'll see you all at 6:30. Oh, shoot, that's so bad. That's so bad. I've created that reputation, but I don't mind that I've created that reputation because it's for the good. Um, Let me start off by saying, please hit the like button on your way in. I appreciate that. Hitting the like button is free, doesn't cost you much at all. It doesn't take much time at all. I really appreciate it, and it does wonders for this video and for the channel. I'm going to start off this video by stating that I have religiously stated on this channel for the past 10 months that I am, or I've been saying it probably for the last 8.5 months, that I'm about 50-50 on if Charlie Kirk is alive or not. I understand why people believe that he was taken out. There's overwhelming quote unquote reasons or evidence to believe such claims. I am now 70-30 Charlie Kirk is alive. That is where I am now. And one of the biggest reasons is because of a clip I'm going to show you all, a clip that or an angle of the quote unquote crime scene that we've seen many times before, but I'm going to speak a little bit about that today. Excuse me. The biggest thing we're going to be discussing today is going to be a House oversight hearing that some gentlemen gave regarding the CIA's infamous MKULTRA program, and the hearing took a quote-unquote unexpected turn after a witness made remarks referencing the unaliving of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, prompting renewed debate over government transparency and intelligence agencies. During the hearing, lawmakers and witnesses discussed the CIA's history of covert operations, classified programs, and the lasting legacy of MKUltra, with some participants drawing broader connections that have fueled public speculation. This is the description of the hearing. No evidence was presented during the hearing establishing CIA involvement in Charlie Kirk's unaliving, but the exchange quickly sparked intense reaction online. And we are going to watch some of the key moments from that hearing in today's episode. Now, I know one of the biggest conversations that's taking place in politics today is going to be the interview that Candace Owens gave with Sean Ryan. And we'll react to a couple of clips. Today's live won't be too long. But I want to sort of get into this hearing. Now, a couple of things I want to run by people is yesterday we covered, let me put this on the screen. Yeah, in yesterday's episode, we covered Erica Kirk and Charlie Kirk's ties or potential ties to Scientology and Freemasonry. And there are some more things I've since learned about the Kirk family and some of their ties, but that's not something we'll discuss in today's video. But if you would like to check out yesterday's video and you're interested in this topic, please check out the live from yesterday. If you would like a dense or I should say an edited version and a much more digestible version of yesterday's live, then I have made that available on the Clips channel. That is Didi Got Clips. That is pinned to the homepage of this YouTube channel. And this is the thumbnail for that video. All right. So go and check that out when you get a chance. I dropped that video earlier today. But I also want to state, because in this video, we talked about a gentleman named L. Ron Hubbard, who is the individual responsible for founding the School of Scientology. And I believe I proved yesterday that L. Ron Hubbard implemented practices and teachings from the British black magician and occultist, Aleister Crowley. He implemented some of those teachings and mixed them in with his teachings of Scientology. And that is how he came up with the School of Scientology. He was one of the students of Aleister Crowley. I've since had people DMing me and messaging me and emailing me upset, saying that Scientology is a good thing and it's worked wonders for their life. It's not changing the point that we made in this video, or in yesterday's video, which is it is undeniable. L. Ron Hubbard also comes from a high-level military family. That is what I forgot to mention yesterday. And for obvious reasons, you should know why that's important. We've spoken about that with TPUSA and many other celebrities that I've exposed over the years, because many of them seem to come from high-level or high-ranking military families and backgrounds, right? That is very concerning. L. Ron Hubbard was no different. He comes from a high-level military family. Surprise, surprise. All right. So until you're able to disprove what I'm saying, I don't care about your DMs and I don't care about your feelings being hurt. I'm about truth on this channel. And the truth is, L. Ron Hubbard had a son called L. Ron Hubbard Jr., who actually changed his name, I believe, because he was embarrassed about who his father was and the legacy that his father had built. But it's no doubt that L. Ron Hubbard Jr. changed his name and then will go on an interview to state what the School of Scientology is about. That's a fact, right? And just for those of you that may have not seen it, may have missed it, we're going to play that video again here just so you can hear out of L. Ron Hubbard's son's own mouth what the School of Scientology is actually about.
Why did you leave the church? Because of these allegations, these things that you... A
whole wide variety of reasons. It isn't a very simple answer. I left because my wife wanted me to, and also because I wasn't making any money, because all the money flows, of course, to my father, always has. I was also tired of the fraud and the deception, plus his deep involvement in personal use of drugs on himself and others, black magic.
When you say black magic, what are you talking about? I mean, some of the things that I read in the stack of material, it sounds just absolutely unbelievable. What are you talking about when you say this?
Well, the funny thing is that the actual truth is about as far out as Scientology itself. Really, the basis of Scientology, which is rather hidden and covered over, is the occult, the deep involvement with satanic powers. That he felt that he was deeply involved with a British black magician called Aleister Crowley, and through putting himself in deep hypnotic trances and the use of drugs on himself, he wanted to become the most powerful being in the world.
Don't get upset with me. Get upset with L. Ron Hubbard's own son, exposing all the things that, I mean, many of us have known about Scientology for years anyways, or just by simply looking at the practices of Scientology, right? They believe that you are and or can become your own God, right? That is what they believe. That is what they teach. They also do not believe in the concept of age in the School of Scientology. What does that mean for children? What does that mean when it comes to children and adult relations, if you follow my drift, right? So I want to get into a clip before we get into the hearing. I want to show you all a clip first. And this clip is very interesting. Let me start playing it first. We're going to listen to the gentleman. And I'm going to tell you why this brought me from 50-50 of Charlie Kirk being alive and Charlie Kirk being unalived. And if he is no longer alive, then I do believe that he was set up 100%. I do believe it was a ritual one way or the other. But I'm going to tell you how I went from 50-50 to leaning more so towards 70-30. That is 70-30. I'm 70% convinced that Charlie Kirk is not deceased. Allegedly. Everything I say in this live is alleged. These are just my opinions.
New video that's been released, a new angle of Terrell Farnsworth when he's taking the SD card out of the camera.
The audio is very, very low. I didn't realize it was going to play this low. But what this gentleman just said, here's a new angle of Terrell Farnsworth taking the SD card out of the camera.
Now, this is after he's already filmed his little live stream saying, they killed Charlie, they killed Charlie. I mean, I don't know how he knew that so sure when he walked away so fast. He didn't even look at Charlie. How did he know he was dead? But that's besides the point.
Right.
What I want to point out with this particular clip is probably about a good minute and a half leading up to when he actually takes the SD card out of the camera. And boy, oh boy, guys, this is pretty freaking telling. Now, doesn't it look like he's waiting for that cop or those people around the booth to move and get out of the way? Because as soon as they do, watch how he meanders on over.
Which, for the record, this is footage that we've covered on this channel before, but it was late last year, maybe in November or December. But we did cover this early on, as many others did as well. All the behavior and the actions of people, you know, within the 15 to 30 minutes after Charlie was wheeled off in the SUV. So we've covered this, but there's a different reason we're looking at it this time.
Now the guy filming, he kind of pans away right here for about 20-25 seconds, all right? But as soon as he pans back, I want you to look. This is all gonna be one solid clip, all right? Look back and see what Terrell's doing underneath the booth. This is wild.
Now I'm going to pause it right there. The reason why I'm going to pause it right there, we're going to let it play a little bit more here in just a moment. But part of the reason I'm going to pause it right there is because many times over the past several months, there are those of us that have been asking the question, where is the red liquid as it pertains to Charlie's, you know, when his body is carried to the SUV? You know, obviously we looked at photos inside of the SUV. Supposedly these are legitimate photos, that are, so we're told. And we can see dried red liquid on different materials inside of the SUV, including the seats. Now, something that we've been asking is, why was there no red liquid dripping from Charlie Kirk's body on the way to the SUV? Now, the truth of the matter is, there could be explanations for that, or maybe there was red liquid dripping and we just never saw it. I highly doubt that to be true, because I've looked at so many different videos. But here's a better question, and this is what I had to really sit with since yesterday, and just come to the conclusion that I have to stop fighting the common sense in my brain, in my mind. The critical thinking is there. I'm just denying it. If Charlie Kirk was hit, whether it was with a 30-06, whether it was with a different type of, you know, bullet, whether he was hit by the road mic, a palm pistol, whatever it may have been. If what they're telling us, let's start there, is expected to be believed, why do we not see any splatter on the backdrop? Why do we not see any type of red liquid anywhere on the table? Why is there not a quote unquote bloody mess anywhere back here on any of these materials? Has anybody asked that question? Where is it at? You say, well, they paved up, they dug up the pavement, the area where Charlie Kirk was sitting not long after, and paved over it so that people wouldn't be able to tell how Charlie Kirk was actually taken out. Or maybe they did that because, number one, no one would ever be able to find any red liquid, and that would be suspicious. Maybe because if they used fake red liquid, people will be able to tell, which are definitely two possibilities that we entertained before. Where's the red liquid here? Like, I don't see it on anything back here.
All right, so the whole time the cameraman panned away, he was standing underneath the booth, basically right underneath the camera. And right here, it looks like he's on his phone. He's got his back turned to us, and it looks like he's looking down on his phone, like he's texting somebody. All right, now watch what he does.
Safety team is here. I just heard them say the active shooter, Charlie Kirk, has been shot. Charlie Kirk got hit.
You can't tell me that Terrell doesn't look nervous, scared, like he's trying to make sure nobody's watching him. This is very freaking bizarre, guys. And mind you, this is just after he filmed himself up there on the side of the walkway as they're hauling Charlie off in a car saying, they killed Charlie, they killed Charlie. This, guys, this isn't right. He looked like somebody who was nervous because he was taking evidence from a crime scene. That's exactly what he was doing. And that's exactly what he did. Now, I think it's time that these guys start coming forth and being honest, because it's not going to get any better for him. There's going to be more video released. And I'm telling you, you're not going to fight the internet and win on this one. The internet will figure this out. There was just too many people there that day. There were too many cameras rolling. And maybe if it was 10, 15 years ago, but it's not going to happen now.
This is something else I want to state too, because this is very important. So let me get a great little shot. Okay. So like this comment here, it says there are pics of liquid and also depends on type of wound. I'm sorry, but I have seen security with liquid on hands too. I have saw those photos as well. I've spoken about this before. The question becomes, why don't we see it anywhere else? Right? Why don't we see it anywhere else? There should at least be footprints or different with something back there. There's no splatter, no nothing. Something's off here, right? Something is clearly off here. Now, I'm not going to linger on that too much because, again, we have a much bigger thing to discuss in today's video. I did want to run something by you all. Does anybody find it suspicious that something you're about to hear in this hearing, something you're going to hear discussed in this hearing, will be JFK? Obviously, JFK, the pow pow in the JFK has been compared to the pow pow of Charlie Kirk, or the alleged pow pow of Charlie Kirk. What I find interesting is that, has no one ever thought about this? Both JFK and MLK, before they were taken out, both of them had assassination attempts on their lives before the day came when they were actually taken out. So in other words, there were other attempts on their lives prior to the day they were taken out. That doesn't apply to Charlie. That I also find interesting as well. Not to say that people aren't allowed to be able to take you out the first time, but it is to say that, isn't it interesting that I would put those three as the highest profile political pow-powings of the last, 60 years, 70 years, 70 years, right? Let me get this pulled up so I can show you all. So For those that may not know, this is the Kennedy assassin who failed. His name was Richard Paul Pavlik's plan wasn't his name was Richard Paul Pavlik, and his plan wasn't very complicated, but it took an eagle-eyed postal worker to prevent a tragedy from happening. It says in November, and just so people will be able to read this, it says in November of 1960, John Fitzgerald Kennedy was elected president of the United States. 3 years later, he was pow-powed by Lee Harvey Oswald while in a motorcade going through Dallas, Texas, allegedly. Had Richard Paul Pavlik gotten his way, Oswald would have never gotten to pull the trigger because Pavlik wanted to unalive JFK first. On December 11, 1960, JFK was the president-elect, and Richard Paul Pavlik was a 73-year-old retired postal worker. Both were in Palm Beach, Florida. JFK was there on vacation of sorts, taking a trip to warmer climates as he prepared to assume office of the president. Pavlik had followed Kennedy down there with the intention of blowing himself up and taking JFK with him. His plan was simple. He lined his car with dynamite, enough to blow up a small mountain per CNN, and outfitted it with a detonation switch. Then he parked outside the Kennedy's Palm Beach compound and waited for Kennedy to leave his house to go to Sunday Mass. Pavlik's aim was to ram his car into JFK's limo as the president to be left his home, unaliving them both. But JFK did not leave his house alone that morning. He made his way to the limousine, and his wife, Jacqueline, and children, Caroline and John Jr., who was less than a month old, while Pavlik was willing to unalive John F. Kennedy, he did not want to unalive Kennedy's family. So he resigned himself to trying again another day. He would not get a second chance at a murderous infamy. On December 15th, he was arrested by a Palm Beach police officer working off a tip from the Secret Service. Right? And I don't think I need to convince you all. I mean, there was many attempts on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s life. And one of those attempts the most infamous attempt or most infamous failed attempt would be Isola Ware Curry. All right. So let me make this a little bit bigger. We'll read just a little bit of this, and then we'll get to the hearing. It says here, June 14th, 1916 is when this person was born and passed away in 2015. It says on 20th of September, 1958, Isola Ware Curry, a 42-year-old mentally disturbed woman, stabbed Martin Luther King Jr. while he signed copies of his book, Stride Toward Freedom, at Blumstein's department store in Harlem, New York. Curry approached King with a 7-inch steel letter opener and drove the blade into the upper left side of his chest. King was rushed to Harlem Hospital, where he underwent more than 2 hours of surgery to repair the wound. Doctors operating on the 29-year-old civil rights leader said had Dr. King sneezed or coughed, the weapon would have penetrated the aorta, and he was just a sneeze away from death. All right. I found it very interesting that arguably the two biggest political assassinations of the past century, there were attempts on their life prior to this, prior to the time they were taken out. But with Charlie Kirk, it was different. The first time someone attempted, they were successful, which is to say that's typically not the case. It typically takes multiple attempts, even if it's not the same person, for you to get to a person of that caliber, whether it be Martin Luther King Jr., the president, or even Charlie Kirk. You could even take Trump. There's been at least 2 or 3 alleged or supposed attempts on Trump's life. But we're expected to believe that the very first time with Charlie, he was taken out. I don't know if I'm buying it. I don't know if I'm buying that. All righty. Now, with that, I want to show you all the clip that has been going ultra viral, and that is the hearing.
There's a lot of speculation out there about the Butler shooting, and I guess even the Charlie Kirk shooting. I just hate to speculate because I don't know. I have no firsthand knowledge whether those guys were programmed through radio waves or through their computer activity. So I would never hazard a guess, except to say what I've already said, that they developed means that we've never been told about many, many years ago, and I imagine they've evolved to be much more effective now. So
Let me
anything's
interrupt you one
possible.
more time, and I apologize again. But don't you think that they could cast this broad net through these algorithms and other things, and maybe they don't know the exact person it's going to affect, but they know what type of person it's going to affect, and they know it's going to happen, and that way they can't predict when it's going to happen, but they think it will happen, and then that way they can sort of wash their hands of this whole thing and say, we didn't have anything to do with it, but in effect they really did, because they put this out there and they continue to put it out there.
Yep, my next question would be for either Dr. Kinzer or Mr. O'Neill. Declassified CIA records have revealed that officers deployed overseas have used USAID funding as an official cover, or USAID as an official cover for operational work that had nothing to do with the mission of USAID, i.e. humanitarian aid, medical relief, etc. In some cases, CIA officers operated under USAID cover engaged in lethal activity in places such as Vietnam, running assassination missions during the war in country from 1965 to 1975. And since MKUltra seems to have found its origin in drug experiments conducted on prisoners overseas, and first by the SS in Nazi Germany and then by US intelligence in camps captured from the Germans, do you believe that USAID may have been used overseas to further influence or further the MKUltra, for example, on prisoners of war? Since part of USAID's mission was to administer drugs to the poor and needy populations, would the organization have abused its mandate by poisoning foreign populations or creating disassociated states for interrogation or torture?
Let me just say, I absolutely hated the way she read that. That made no sense to read it that way. I'm still confused how a person who's supposedly qualified can sit there and read all of that in one huge, long run-on sentence instead of pausing, breathing, especially before you're asking a question. Always pause before your question so that there's some sort of distinction or separation from the statements that you were just making. Why did you just say all of that like it's one big, long run-on sentence? It's like she was just trying to get through it, and they've rehearsed this 1,000 times and she's tired of saying it. Let's run it back. Hate to put y'all through that, but it's important that we hear what she said.
Dr. Kinzer or Mr. O'Neill.
And she's a doctor. That makes it even worse.
Declassified CIA records have revealed that officers deployed overseas have used USAID funding as an official cover, or USAID as an official cover for operational work that had nothing to do with the mission of USAID, i.e. humanitarian aid, medical relief, etc. In some cases, CIA officers operated under USAID cover engaged in lethal activity in places such as Vietnam, running assassination missions during the war in country from 1965 to 1975. And since MKUltra seems to have found its origin in drug experiments conducted on prisoners overseas, and first by the SS in Nazi Germany and then by US intelligence in camps captured from the Germans, do you believe that USAID may have been used overseas to further influence or further the MKUltra, for example, on prisoners of war? Since part of USAID's mission was to administer drugs to the poor and needy populations, would the organization have abused its mandate by poisoning foreign populations or creating disassociated states for interrogation or torture?
Oh, that was horrible. It was even worse the second time. Essentially, what she just said was it was proven, and they have come out and since admitted that the funding that they were supposed to be putting towards quote unquote MKUltra research and things of that sort, they've since admitted that those funds did not go towards what they originally claimed they were supposed to go towards. What she also just said and admitted to, or claimed that the U.S. government has admitted to, was that MKUltra, part of the original origins of MKUltra, stems from drug usage, which we discussed this when it comes to Mr. Kanye West. Kanye West has admitted himself that he is an MKUltra asset, right? Which I've been saying it on this channel for a number of years, and Kanye West has admitted that himself. Part of MKUltra, excuse me, as I've said before, doesn't just mean somebody who's strapped to a machine with some sort of thing over their head with all these electrical wires coming from or stemming from their body, and they're being hypnotized to go and do something that they are no longer in control of doing. No, there are many different forms of MKUltra. One of those are drugs. In fact, one could argue that those are the original forms of MKUltra, or at least the testing babies of MKUltra. And that is essentially what she said here. And the question she asked, if I heard her correctly in her very long run-on sentence, was essentially, did they take advantage of this, knowing that they sent drugs, that being, you know, one of the things that they used within MKUltra, did they send these drugs, or did they practice these things or test these things on the population, such as the poor and the needy, right? Did they practice these things on soldiers or prisoners of war, right? So let's see what the gentleman says here.
I can't speak directly to AID, but it's certainly true that during this period, after the Second World War, the United States was using publicly announced and official U.S. government agencies to carry out covert action. We now know, for example, that 5% of all of the money appropriated for the Marshall Plan was diverted for covert activities. A number of U.S. agencies were used as cover by covert operatives, and that AID could have been one of them sounds very likely to me.
And the NIMH admitted to allowing itself to be used for covert funding of MKUltra experiments in the 1970s when the operation was disclosed.
Thank you. I now recognize Representative Burchett for 5 minutes.
Thank goodness. As long as it's not you. You seem to be up there just to look pretty.
Thank you, Chair Lady. Thank you all for being here. I remembered when all the talk about MKUltra broke, and then they were talking about lawsuits, and there were lawsuits, and the CIA and the federal government said that this didn't exist, and then they came back and said, well, it does exist, and then, but we're not doing it anymore. I guess my question to y'all first is, which lie do we believe? Because, thank you. Obviously, there was an open bar before this thing started, so thank y'all. But Dr. Kinzer? Hit your mic, brother. You're not on the mic. It's an old CIA trick. I'm just kidding.
I put myself in the place of one of those senior CIA officers, and I'm thinking to myself, like the ones back in the 1950s, well, other people must be doing this. We'd be falling behind if we don't do it. And nobody's looking over our shoulders. And that, I think, is your job. So I think there is a definite air of urgency and total secrecy. If any current research is going on, and if it's conducted in any comparable level of secrecy to the original MKUltra, it's very deeply secret.
But one thing you said, though, it's going to be hard for Congress to act when they're so dadgum compromised.
Wait, what did he say? Wait, say it again.
Dr. Kinzer? Hit your mic, brother. You're not on the mic. It's an old CIA trick. I'm just kidding.
I put myself in the place of one of those senior CIA officers, and I'm thinking to myself, like the ones back in the 1950s, well, other people must be doing this. We'd be falling behind if we don't do it. And nobody's looking over our shoulders. And that, I think, is your job. So I think there is a definite air of urgency and total secrecy. If any current research is going on, and if it's conducted in any comparable level of secrecy to the original MKUltra, it's very deeply secret.
But one thing you said, though, it's going to be hard for Congress to act when they're so dadgum compromised. Let's just be honest.
Agreed. I was going to say, like, what is he? Why is that guy making it sound like the answer or the solution to figuring out if MKUltra is still around or if it's still being practiced, the solution is Congress. No, it's not. A lot of Congress is in on it. A lot of these people are in the know. A lot of these people are in cahoots. That's why I'm saying it's not just Republicans, it's not just Democrats, it's all these people, right? A lot of the crimes that's happening in our country, allegedly, our politicians know very well so how it's taking place. How do you think drugs are? It's like the drug problem in our country. If they really wanted drugs out of the country, there would be no drugs in the country because they would lock down on every single avenue, every single potential way that drugs can get into this country. They would shut it down if they wanted to. But the reason that they don't is because it's by design, allegedly, and it's for profit. If they're able to benefit from it, whether it be under the table or legally, excuse me, the way that they are with marijuana now, if they're able to make it legal, then they're going to benefit from it. Or I should say, if they're able to benefit from it, they're going to do so, whether it be legal or illegal. Pretending that Congress, like that's laughable. That's a joke. Of course, Congress knows about it.
I mean, y'all are in the business of twisting ears and telling us things that we've done, and that sways a lot of people up here. Somebody doesn't want to wreck a marriage or their business or lose this glamorous job that we have. And so I suspect that has a lot of play into it. Sorry to interrupt you. I apologize.
All I mean to say is that I think if there are such projects going on inside the U.S. government, there might be a sense that we can do this without any hostile supervision.
What are the possibilities that what we've learned in MKUltra, now that it has advanced so much to algorithms and the computer and getting to loners, that some of these loners could, through this just mass propagation of whatever you're doing, could cause someone to maybe take a shot at a president?
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a lot of speculation out there about the Butler shooting, and I guess even the Charlie Kirk shooting.
You don't say. I think there's a little bit more than just speculation, buddy.
I just hate to speculate.
I don't.
Because I don't know. I have no firsthand knowledge whether those guys were programmed through radio waves or through their computer activity. So I would never hazard a guess, except to say what I've already said, that they developed means that we've never been told about many, many years ago, and I imagine they've evolved to be much more effective now. So
let me interrupt you one more time, and I apologize again.
But here's what's funny about this. Are we expected to believe that you all don't know? Why is it always somebody else that's never in the hearing that's supposed to be the expert? They called you all here because you're the expert. You're supposed to know. You're supposed to have the inside knowledge. How come it's always the very people who's supposed to have the answers who then show up as the quote unquote expert to then talk about what they don't know and they don't even have access to and they don't even have knowledge about, right? And it's only somebody else who wasn't able to make it, somebody else who hasn't been subpoenaed. It's only them that may have knowledge, or a person that's no longer alive. No, I'm not buying it at all. These people know very well so, and I'm saying the gentleman here, he know dang well more about MKUltra than he's letting on. He know dang well they have the ability to control people. But let's just step a little bit outside of just MKUltra. This is more proof that they're not being honest. Outside of MKUltra, the government, the FBI, the CIA has access to our devices. If you are to say something or if you are to plan something, they can crack down on you and they already know what you're planning. And most times, especially when people don't act alone, which is another thing that's weird about Charlie Kirk, that they're claiming that Tyler Robinson did this by himself, which is not believable at all. But when it comes to JFK, when it comes to MLK, there were supposedly, allegedly backup powers. But Charlie Kirk is so unique and different from everybody else, supposedly. We know that they're most likely going to communicate some way, one way or another, via a device. And the FBI can pick up on that immediately. They flag those things to Snapchat, what is it called? Discord, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, text messages, phone calls. They can flag those things if they want it.
Out many, many years ago, and I imagine they've evolved to be much more effective now. So
Let me
anything's
You don't say.
interrupt you one more
possible.
time, and I apologize again. But don't you think that they could cast this broad net through these algorithms and other things, and maybe they don't know the exact person it's going to affect, but they know what type of person it's going to affect, and they know.
No, they know the exact person it's going to affect. They target people, right? They literally have agents out here that they can use, right? So no, yes, there may be scenarios where they can use that. They can just send out signals and it may, hit a random person. But in this particular case, I'm gonna have to look up that case, man. It's similar to, where is it at? I talked about this a little bit in the Martin Luther King documentary that I dropped. I talked about this in great detail in this documentary pertaining to a couple of individuals, and one of those individuals happens to be the person that took out Martin Luther King's mother. That's right. Martin Luther King Jr.'s mother was unalived, I believe, at their church when a individual came in who I believe to be an MKUltra asset, came in with the intentions of unaliving Martin Luther King Jr.'s dad. So he came in to unalive Martin Luther King Sr. or Michael King Sr. When you look into this kid's history, the things they found in this kid's pocket, he literally had a list of individuals he was going to go through. That's typically what you see from people who have been, quote unquote, brainwashed, who have been sit out on a mission, almost like as if they're an assassin. I covered that extensively in this documentary.
Going to happen, and that way they can't predict when it's going to happen, but they think it will happen, and then that way they can sort of wash their hands of this whole thing and say, well, we didn't have anything to do with it, but in effect they really did, because they put this out there and they continue to put it out there through whatever method you're talking about. Go ahead, guys. I'm sorry. Ma'am, if you want to jump in.
She's with NIH.
Okay. Doctor, go ahead.
It sounds to me like you're describing something like the Martin Luther King assassination.
Bingo.
The FBI didn't carry it out, but it created such a climate.
Well, I don't know if that's true either. Allegedly. And if you can state so confidently that the FBI didn't take out Martin Luther King Jr., then you need to come out and you all need to just make everything declassified. I believe it's supposed to be, by the way, I believe the Martin Luther King Jr. files are, I think all of them, because part of them have become declassified. I believe all of them will become fully declassified, I believe January of next year, if I remember correctly. I believe it's January of next year. If you can state so confidently that the FBI had nothing to do with it, which I don't know how you can state that so confidently, especially when COINTELPRO and all of that was taking place with the new head of the FBI at the time, where they were spying on civil rights leaders and they were conspiring against certain leaders. They had the back and forth with the Black Panthers. The Black Panthers were even infiltrated. This is interesting. It's interesting that he can state that with so much conviction.
Other method you're talking about. Go ahead, guys. I'm sorry. Ma'am, if you want to jump in.
She's with NIH.
Okay. Doctor, go ahead.
It sounds to me like you're describing something like the Martin Luther King assassination. The FBI didn't carry it out, but it created such a climate, just denouncing King as the most dangerous man in America and putting out all this material about how he was helping communists, that they must have thought, it's going to filter down. Somebody will take action, and then we can say we didn't have anything to do with it.
And James Earl Ray was a third-rate thief. He made an incredible shot, 1 foot on a commode, 1 foot in a bathtub, leaning out of a window, basically. And the next day, or that afternoon, all the shrubbery was cut in front of the flop house he was staying in. There's a lot on that one that will never be discussed. I have some friends that were there, so I guess I'm on pretty close to firsthand knowledge. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm probably going to get audited when I walk out of the room. I know it. So
the way that they just described James Earl Ray is the same way that they described Lee Harvey Oswald, the same way they described Tyler Robinson, and they do these things on purpose. They pick individuals to be the patsy that are disposable, right? They are the disposable individuals in society, right? Over the past number of years, they've created this climate about furries and transgenders and the LGBTQ community and can trans women actual women, and can they go into biological women's bathrooms and locker rooms, and can they compete against them in sports? Now, when Charlie Kirk gets taken out, they can use a patsy like Tyler Robinson, or when Charlie Kirk allegedly gets taken out, whether he was taken out or not. When the event takes place, they can use a patsy like Tyler Robinson and say, see, this has been an issue in this country for a number of years. Nobody should be shocked about this, right? Look at all the transgenders that have piled up schools. Nobody should be shocked about this, right? This is believable, right? We've seen this before. This person is not believable. I mean, this person is not an outlier. This is a believable story. This is not somebody you all should care about anyways. This is somebody you all should be against anyways. Well, they do the same thing with Lee Harvey Oswald and James Earl Ray. They look at your criminal record. They look at your life, and they say, look, this person has this history, and their family is on record stating this about them. So it's not that far-fetched to believe that they would do X, Y, and Z, right? This is how they work. This is what these people do.
thank you. Chair Lady, I yield back my 4 seconds.
Thank you, Rep. Burchett. I would like to now recognize Representative Boebert for 5 minutes.
So that's super interesting, but I have something else I want to show you all because this reminds me. So when I was talking earlier about how they can flag your phones if they want, or I said if they want, they're always watching our phones. They have us flagged, and they have us on surveillance at all times. Check this out from Sam Parker earlier today. Let's read this up close. I want you all to be able to see this. Let me see how it shows when you all see it. Okay. Says Tyler Robinson and manufacturing a patsy. In January, a student teacher named Kristen Volpe of Washington, Illinois, was arrested by her local sheriff's deputies for having sent an offensive Snapchat earlier that very same day. The very same day. The FBI detected it and alerted local law enforcement. What was the snap? One of her students turned off her computer during class while she was trying to teach. Out of humorous exasperation, she sent a sarcastic message to a private group chat consisting of her roommate and boyfriend asking whether she should, quote unquote, pow the kid. So it wasn't even a threat. It was an ironic question, a joke, a throwaway comment. So the FBI detected a joke, sent the sheriff, and they arrested her. How many times have you metaphorically or ironically said you could pow someone over something frustrating? It's a fairly common expression. Now imagine you're into darker things on sketchier corners of the internet. You think the feds and intelligence agencies aren't spying on everything? They are. And if you do or say anything egregious enough, they'll have you by the short hairs. As for this girl, I feel like the whole situation they put her through was totally retarded. In my opinion, they called it a quote-unquote serious offense and made a whole stupid production out of what was clearly not a threatening situation. Aren't you glad the FBI is harassing teachers over jokes while they haven't arrested a single Epstein client. Heaven forbid your car gets stolen or your house gets broken into, though. Good luck getting any law enforcement support for that. I've thought about that many times. Why all of a sudden they don't have access to these things? Because what they've told me is it's all about the level of the threat. The person has to have committed a crime, and it has to reach a certain level, such as somebody had to have their life taken, or their life had to have been threatened, right? It says, good luck getting any law enforcement support for that. And good luck getting anyone in your government held accountable for graping kids or taking bribes from foreign governments. Our country is a joke, and they probably have entire databases full of entrapped patsies. This is how easy it is for the feds to get leverage on someone. What this girl Snapchatted was the least disturbing thing about this story, in my opinion. Everything else is practically dystopian. She ended up having to leave teaching altogether over nonsense. What do they have on Tyler or other people involved in the cover-up? I don't know, but I am reminded of George Zinn, who had the CP, and we know what CP stands for, on his phone. No doubt they have leverage on many people who are being exploited to help carry out the Charlie Kirk Powell operation. I like that he said operation, and cover up. What you think, friends? Do you agree with this take? Let's take a look at the video.
I'm with the Sheriff's Office. Do you happen to have your phone on you?
I do, yeah.
Okay, if you want to hand that to me, please?
Yes.
Okay, the reason we're here is have you been on Snapchat earlier today?
Yes, I was, yeah.
Okay, and so we got a call about a snap. So did you happen to make one today?
I did, yeah.
And what did you say in the snap?
I send a lot of snaps back and forth. I don't
Okay.
know really what this is about.
How about school today? Anything about school today?
It's a lot about school. I don't know.
So I guess the other question then, who are you sending them on your wall or whatever it's called, or you send it to someone specifically?
I didn't post anything today, if that's what you're, but no.
Okay. Did you send the things to people
I
today?
send like snaps to like my roommate and my
Okay.
boyfriend. That's it.
Okay.
I'm allowed to take pictures of the kids.
Yeah.
So I take pictures of the kids. I took a picture of one kid because I always tell stories about it.
Yeah.
I can delete it if you want, but I do have a picture of one of the students,
Okay.
but I keep it for like my
Did-
safe keepings of the kids.
How about, did any of the kids make you mad today?
No.
Nothing about your computer or anything like that?
I had a lesson plan and one of the kids turned off my computer on my lesson plan. I was like, oh, dang. But I never get mad with the kids ever.
What did you snap after that? Did you send out?
No.
Nothing at all?
No.
Yeah, I mean,
What? I'm so confused.
so what I want to show you is the snap we received.
Oh, yes. But, okay, yes. This was a joke though, but yes.
Who did you send that to?
That was just to 3 people. Not a private story, but like a private. Like there's only like 3 people on there. Okay, yeah, I'm realizing that was a bad joke. That was a bad joke. I did not mean it at serious at all. Like I'm not a violent person. You can ask any of the teachers. I'm very calm. It wasn't meant to be violence in any way.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. This is a serious offense, okay?
I know.
How we got it was the FBI, okay?
Oh, okay.
So you are going to go with us, okay? I do got to process you. Going to have to stay the night in jail, okay?
Oh my God. This is crazy.
I know.
I did not mean it to get to this
I know.
far. Like, this is insane. I made a stupid post on Snapchat. The cops came and they found me, and they're taking me to jail. It was just a joke. It was a stupid Snapchat. And I'm so sorry. I don't know what to do.
Now, insane, bro. That's freaking insane. Now, there's a couple of things here. Yes, they should follow up, and they should at least vet, at least entertain to see if the situation is serious. Because if you don't entertain it, and one of those children end up getting hurt, or she do the very thing that she joked about in her snap, then the FBI could be blamed for not stepping in if they had foreknowledge. However, the fact that you're able to do this, and this girl, to me, seemingly appears to have been joking, and you have no other reason outside of just that harmless threat, that harmless Snapchat in a private story, you have no other reason to believe that she would have actually followed through and done this. What I'd like to know is, what are y'all doing in y'all's real time with actual criminals? Right? Why weren't y'all able to stop Tyler Robinson if your story is that Tyler Robinson took out Charlie Kirk? Because y'all's story is that he had been having conversations previously or prior on Discords. Why didn't you stop in and stop him? That doesn't make any sense at all. Now I want to just show you all this part I'm actually super excited about. I want to show you all a couple of clips from the Sean Ryan. There's actually the entire first hour that I wanted to react to, but there's a couple of clips that I want to talk about because Candace did speak. She did say, and this isn't her first time saying that she believes that what happened to Charlie Kirk was a ritual. She do believe that it's a ritual. She do believe that he was in the middle of a pentagram on purpose. She believed that it was a ritualistic sacrifice. She stated that unequivocally on Sean Ryan's show. And I want to talk to you all about why, outside of the obvious reason, why that's super, super important. The first reason